Stafford, AJ Green, Marquez Pope, Reggie Brown, no Sean Marino, Muhammad Massaquoi.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, another episode of Herschel Talkers. We got Big Sean in the house again. Also, later in the show, we have special guest, our buddy Justin, great friend of mine, and he's a avid sports fan and college football, loves the SEC. So we'll get some of his questions and thoughts about the upcoming season. 3 days till kickoff. It's it's the second Christmas for us down south. So this is a huge part of the year. Are you excited, Sean? We've been waiting all the way through the summer.
I told you, man, last week I could feel it in my plums, man.
Exactly. It's here, 3 days and counting. Can't wait. Actually, they had some of the West Coast games last week. Kind of paid attention to them. Mike Bobo got the win with Colorado State. That was big for him, so that's a good start. But it all gets started this Thursday. We're going to jump right in. We're going to look at the Georgia Bulldogs play App State. Spread right now is about 13.5 or 14. More and more I read about it, I'm getting kind of scared on the game. I think Sean's kind of confident. It's going to be a night game. Earlier in the week, looked like it's going to be a downpour, but it looks like it's going to be raining up till the game. But I think on game day, it's about 20%. It should be sunny, 83. So there shouldn't be any cramps or any of that, the way it usually is. But what I wanted to look at was they're bringing back Tyler Lamb, 4-year starter. They had 105th in the nation passing offense, 179, but they were a top 10 rushing team. And then also they were real spunky on the defense, number 13 ranked defense, total defense. So I was going to get your thoughts how we match up and maybe some of the keys to the game. Sean, go ahead and give us your number one key to the game that you always like to say.
It's differential point spread. You got to put up more points than they do when the clock strikes zero at the end of the fourth quarter. And if we manage to do that, we'll win the fucking game.
Hey, great. I love it. But diving down deeper than that, what do you think Georgia needs to do to get the win, and what would you like to see from them?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll answer those in reverse order. I mean, the one thing I don't want to see is just stupid injuries. I'm not worried about this game. I mean, I understand, and again, App State's my undergrad. I don't know. I went to Georgia for law school, but
bittersweet.
Honestly, what I don't want to see are injuries for Georgia, especially when you're playing a team like App State, because just talent-wise, there's no way that this game is really in question to me. I just think that Georgia's got enough horses to just get it done. I understand App State's got a really impressive defense or whatever, but they're also playing competition that's substantially below what Georgia's playing week in, week out. The other thing is, too, that you mentioned is that App State apparently has a really bad offense. So,
so Tyler Lamb's really mobile. I mean, he's a better athlete than you think he is, white dude. But, they run the ball really well. I think they got a pretty good running back coming back. But they got
they pass the ball particularly well, right?
Yeah,
that means you have what was formerly a playoff series, football team that's one-dimensional coming into this game, right? At least on paper.
Yeah. He extends plays a lot. That's what he's good at. He's one of those, he'll kind of throw that first down when he needs to, and then he'll roll out of the pocket, and he can make plays with his legs. 4-year starter, so he doesn't turn the ball over. Pretty good running game. And they got a really good defensive line. And as we know, our big question is that offensive line coming in for Georgia. So that's where I'm getting kind of nervous. And then if it did rain, maybe I've just been burned too many times as a Georgia fan. But anyway.
So are you nervous to the point where you're having irritable bowel syndrome? Is it the point where we need to go ahead and have Mama Tucker send you some Pepto-Bismol or Imodium?
Actually, she already said she's got her Tums out. God bless her. I mean, she's diehard. She's ready. But she took those sometimes last week. She came out and taught me that. She's not a big drinker. She's taking Tums. I mean, Georgia. I mean, being a Georgia fan for over 50 years, like she said, is stressful. And little known fact, I'm going to be in bumfuck Detroit, Michigan, like an hour out, and I better find that damn game on ESPN. I'm actually packing my Apple TV with me, and I got my username and password ready. So anyway, I'm nervous about the game. First off, can I watch it? And I'm going to probably be drinking, and Sean probably drinks too. As you know, being a Georgia fan, it relaxes you. So anyway.
Well, and just being a habitual substance abuser.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what else scares me is a lot of people bring up, App State scared Tennessee to death last year. They had to go in overtime. So a lot of people are saying, App State can get up for them. But then a couple weeks later, they got smackdown put on them by Miami, our beloved Mark Richt, ex-coach. So, but like you said, Georgia on paper, we just have more. I can see this being 13-7, 14-7, close in the first half, and I just think in the second half we just have more, more horses in the stable, more players to pull away. I'm still thinking they're going to keep it close. I'm predicting, right around the spread, 31-17, maybe 35-21, somewhere in there. That's what I'm predicting. But Sean mentioned a couple weeks back he'd like a close game to kind of get them motivated. A blowout like it was a couple years ago when Georgia played in Athens, 55-9. Maybe that wouldn't be great rolling into Notre Dame. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that I'm hard pressed to maybe see them putting up like 17 on us. Maybe not. I mean, if there's like a turnover for some points or whatever else, maybe. But just I don't know. I think offensively, or I should say defensively, I think Georgia's a bad matchup for, a primarily, run-based Appalachian State offense just because of how quick those inside linebackers are. I mean, even last year with all the woes that we had, the defense was pretty solid, and I think definitely the strength of it was, running sideline to sideline with Roquan Smith and Natros Patrick. So, yeah, maybe – I would say maybe 27-10, something like that. I mean, I could maybe see another touchdown beyond that. And I guess maybe too, theoretically, once the game kind of gets, put away a little bit, or in all probability put away, you're probably going to play a lot of your younger guys as well, get them, playing time. And given that you're probably playing some freshmen in the defensive backfield, you may have an error or two there, which just leads to some junk yards and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're right on board again. I think we can win, 14 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see if it's more than that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel good, though, barring injuries, if it's, closer than that. But, I haven't really seen a Kirby Smart team that doesn't come out and really play hard.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. You don't really see them kind of just mentally going through the motions, which I think Tennessee was certainly guilty of, or has been guilty of since Butch Jones got there.
Yeah.
Which, I think App State's going to come out there and give you everything you've got. I think you're going to see, Georgia play with, with effort. I mean, may not have translated a lot into the, win column last year, but, but I do think that they'll kind of give you everything that you got. So.
Yeah, I agree, and I think and being a night game, Sanford Stadium, 6:15 is going to be a lot better than 12. Maybe like SEC Network, it's hard to get motivated, so I like that, and I think it's kind of hard not to get excited about the first game. But I guess what I really want to see is progression of Jacob Eason. Can he be more accurate, of course, and I kind of want to see that offensive line against kind of a speedier, pretty decent defensive line. Can we push him around? Can we open up some holes for Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, and then maybe the progression of some of these wide receivers. That's what I'm excited about. Basically, offensive side of the ball, like I said, I think defense, we're going to be able to wreak havoc, especially with that front seven. I don't think they have any really big receivers. I mean, hopefully our secondary won't struggle, so that's what I'm excited about. It's just, offensive side of the ball. Also wanted to get your thoughts on, so last year, of course, Riley Ridley and Elijah Holyfield, as everyone knows, got busted up with the weed charges. But it looks like when they were asking about it this week, Kirby kept saying they've been handled internal discipline, and it looks more and more like they might possibly play. So I kind of like this. You're going back to maybe some Nick Saban here. It's like, all right, we probably ran him to death or something. So we get your thoughts on that. If you had Rick, these guys would be out a couple of games or maybe even one game. But I was going to get your thoughts on if we do see him on the field. Is this kind of like a change in the guard? Do you like what you see? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, my understanding of like the way suspensions and things are handled is that it was pretty much, there was a handbook or guideline that pretty much, that they were required to follow, to follow. So, a lot of this stuff wasn't really in Mark Richt's control. It was something that came down from AD. So if he's playing, or they're playing, maybe some of that has changed. At the end of the day, they're college kids. How many college kids, have experimented and done things like that? It's not really the end of the world. In this game, I don't know if it's going to be one of those things that, blows up and bites us in the ass. They've played this week, but they've got to get suspended for the next two. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I just don't see us needing, every player in the locker room to beat the vaunted Appy State Mountaineers. So,
yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, if they realize that, if they kind of learn a lesson and realize they got to be smart about that stuff, I think that's all that matters.
And not to change this, knock on wood, our off season was kind of quiet around Athens. Like normally Mark Richt teams, we'd have 4 or 5 or all kind of people suspended. Basically, Ridley's probably going to play. Holyfield, unless it was a blowout, you probably wouldn't see him. It'd be great to have Ridley. I could see him getting a couple of catches, maybe like 30 yards. I don't know, like a touchdown. But I just think it's like a change in the guard. I kind of like it. I kind of like what we're getting. Nick Saban, hey, discipline them. We'll handle it later. So I kind of like that maybe we're not squeaky clean as we used to be. I'm kind of like, do what you got to do to get one, because that's what we're waiting on. That's why we brought him in. But
no, that's right.
I digress. I guess the other little news from this week, I think it was yesterday. What do you think about Chauncey, Billy's middle linebacker, Manak, transferring to, I think, a small college in Kansas, 4-star? What do you think about that?
It's kind of interesting. The timing's a bit unique in that Kirby had kind of indicated that he was doing really well in summer camp. So, I don't know if that was just Kirby kind of maybe just trying to keep the kid motivated or whatever, or, maybe if those statements were true, but just, he just kind of needs to, it's just not a good fit for him. Whatever it is, just kind of wish him the best of luck. It'd be kind of nice to have that added depth at outside linebacker, because theoretically, he's only one play away from, being the starter, right? But, just as far as I can recall, he was never really in trouble. So just wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I think great kid. Definitely if he lost his positioning, Georgia's pretty deep on linebackers. So I can understand you want to go and you want to play somewhere. You got three or 4 years to do it. Maybe you didn't want to be back up, but better luck. Plus, it also might open up another spot coming up down the line in recruiting. Could even open up. They were mentioning, Rodrigo Blankenship, Wild Thing, won the kicking battle, I think is as of yesterday. So he's going to place kick and kick off, which is great. Could finally give him that scholarship he's been waiting on. He beat out a scholarship kicker. So, definitely opens up that. And then one little thing in recruiting I thought was interesting over the weekend. So big-time quarterback, 5-star after, we mentioned him last week, Justin Fields. Actually went to Athens after his game. He actually lost to Rome. But he went and watched the game. I believe it might have been with Kirby Smart, the Mayweather-McGregor. So I thought it was interesting, and he brought his top wide receiver with him, I think he's under the radar, only has one offer from Air Force, 6'2", 185. A lot of people, he has 17 touchdowns in the last couple of years. Kind of reminds you like a Michael Bennett, can block really good. But I was going to get your thoughts on that happening, and is that a really good sign going forward with us getting Justin Fields, him coming to Athens to watch the fight?
Well, it's all, until they've actually signed, you never really know. I will say, though, I think Kirby, is just, amazing. You really don't outwork the guy to get recruits by any means. You can probably, equal him, but you can't outwork him. And so, yeah, I thought it was a genius idea to have him come in for the fight. and then to offer his, main wide receiver preferred walk-on status, I mean, that can only help the situation, right?
Yeah.
Even Rick kind of did some stuff like that when we were recruiting Isaiah Crowell. We offered his, I think it was his cousin and fullback, a scholarship, and like Alec Ogletree, we offered his brother Xander a scholarship as well.
Hey, all those ended up working out really well for us, but I agree with see what you're saying.
Dude, Ogletree, hey, I mean.
No, I was just talking about the rest of them. I think all the package deal guys, like on the latter end, didn't make it or got cut or thrown off the team. I was talking about the reject guys, the package guys.
I mean, yeah, but honestly, like, how many of these 4- and 5-star guys that we get that just don't ever do anything either? You know what I mean? Is it really a wasted scholarship if you get somebody that makes an impact?
I agree, exactly. All right, well that's our App State preview. So we both got Georgia winning. I think Sean had what do you have? 27-10. I'm a little higher with 31-17. So hopefully a comfortable win. Hopefully it's not scary. I could see it being close in the second half. I just hope it's not one of those who've got to kick a field goal or get a first down to win like last year. Come out and punch them in the mouth and take control. But now we're gonna bring on our buddy Justin on the phone here. Talk a little SEC. I believe he has some questions for us, and he's a great worth of knowledge here. So how are we doing today, Justin?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on. Big fan of the show.
Hey, thanks, man. Also, AK,
Justin, that would make you and about 5 other people.
Hey, we're growing slowly. I think we're up
last time, but yeah.
It might be.
I think we're growing around to 50, 51 views. I hope this bringing Justin in, he'll have a big audience. So anyway.
And I think Trey's mom's like 10 of them.
Nah, I think my mom clicked on it one time. I'll admit a couple of clicks was probably because of me trying to figure out it went through. But anyway. So how are we doing today, Justin? What's on your mind here? Hey, open forum and whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to talk about kind of the SEC and more specifically how it relates to Georgia. So one of the questions I had for you guys was, what's your thoughts on the SEC East going through Jacksonville?
Ooh.
Is that where you guys think whoever wins that game will win the East?
I would have said before you had like 8 Florida players suspended, probably, yeah, and maybe even still. I think Swamp Donkey, McElwain is he's one of the best coaches in the SEC, maybe the second best, certainly over the last 2 years outside of Nick Saban. But he had a good bit of turnover just to the draft and to graduation this past year. And then you factored in, I think 7 players got suspended in the past couple weeks. And then apparently Trey was saying another one just got suspended.
Yeah, running back.
So normally, I'd say it's probably going through Jacksonville, but you factor in all those losses. That's a lot to overcome. And he hasn't particularly recruited well his first 2 years there. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think it may be Georgia's to lose. Not to sound overly homerish, but
it's a 2-game swing. You got to win that game. Like if Georgia loses again, and this would be the fourth straight year, and we've lost 21 out of 27. We're just kind of snake bit. Another thing I want to throw in, what I'm scared about is they only have, because of the LSU hurricane last year and the neutral site games, they only have 3 away games in the SEC for Florida. And if you look at it, a lot of those games are winnable. So if we lose that game, I could see us like you're having to pull for South Carolina or Missouri to beat them. So you definitely have to win that one. But I will say, with all these suspensions and they haven't named a starter, I mean, it's almost Thursday and you don't know who your starting quarterback is. Malik Zaire has kind of struggled, they said, with progression. Luke Del Rio, the guy from last year, he's a pretty average quarterback. And then you had Felipe Franks, big 4-star that came in. So, I mean, you don't even know who your quarterback is. I mean, most people would name him the week of. So, I mean, he's Swamp Donkey. McElwain's even mentioned playing 3 quarterbacks, which is crazy. But on Michigan's side, we'll probably get to this when we do picks later. I mean, I think they lost 17 to 22, and I think Harbaugh was his 3rd year. He's recruited well, but I mean, that's going to be a lot. So that first game should be, Michigan against Florida should be interesting. But we have to win. We have to win that game. And I think historically, going back every time we've won the East, we beat Florida. We haven't won it. This will be 5 years. Haven't won it since 2012. So back to your question, the East goes through Jacksonville for sure.
Agreed.
All right, and speaking of quarterbacks, have you guys seen enough from Eason to make you think that he can shoulder the load this season, the whole season?
I don't. Yes and no. I mean, so I guess to answer directly, no, not necessarily. I think that because of how bad his offensive line was, I think it was the worst in college football last year, and the fact that he really had no receivers to speak of and no running game. When you look at he wasn't all that effective, but when you look at his numbers, they're not all that bad considering what he didn't have. I mean, I think he had 2,400 yards, Trey, like 24 touchdowns, like 12 interceptions.
14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Yeah, go ahead. Over 24, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, when you factor in he really didn't have anything, those numbers really aren't all that bad. I mean, they certainly could have been worse and it would have been justified. I guess kind of what, because of all of those, deficiencies in other areas, to me, you're not really going to know until, he steps on the field for the first couple weeks, and then you just see if those things have erased. But, I mean, until you, it's really hard to kind of erase those question marks just looking at the spring game,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested in to see this game one. Like, his offensive line's supposed to be better. I know we got probably Andrew Thomas at right tackle. He's a 4-star coming in, a little young. But I think the offensive line's going to be better, at least I hope. I just hope he's more accurate. He's around 55%. I mean, like the Tennessee and the Missouri throw, he looked like he's going to be the next first-round draft pick, and then he'll throw it in the ground. He'll overthrow it. South Carolina last year, he had like 28 yards passing in the wind. He just looked terrible. They got the win, though. But I'm just wanting to see if, Aaron Murray did pretty good, even though he was a red shirt. Matt Stafford, he had better numbers than Matthew Stafford, who just signed that crazy contract, I believe. So comparing him to the last true freshman that had a similar arm, he did a lot better. But Matt Stafford had a really good progression in his sophomore year. As Sean said, you could really see him grow, and that was one of his better years. So I just hope he progresses and he improves. I mean, we don't have to have 70 or 75% passing range. Just make him improve. And I want him to see him to make him these underneath throws, 15 to 20 yards. He's definitely got the arm. He throws it deep, but just show a lot more maturity. Make sure he's a leader out there, can make some good throws. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. And then my final question for you guys is, if let's say Georgia ends up playing in some no-name bowl versus kind of a Nebraska or Michigan State or something like that.
How dare you?
How will Kirby Smart be received in Georgia?
He'll be on the hot seat for certain. Just based on, if all of the prognostications about how weak, the SEC East is for this year holds true. I think Georgia's the most, the team that really on paper has the fewest question marks. And, the East, I think, is historically bad this year. Mm-hmm. So, to me, if they're going 7-6, 8-5, and they're in that bowl game, I mean, unless if it's, injury-related. If you lose your starting quarterback and you're playing the true freshman, and even if the true freshman gets hurt, then at that point, it's I don't necessarily think you can really, blame him for that. I mean, you can't throw the ball for them. But, I think he's on the hot seat for certain because, if you pretty much go through the season, unscathed injury-wise and you're still there, at some point, these are your kids. They're your recruits. I mean, if it's not your fault, whose is it?
It makes sense. Trey?
Yeah, I agree. So here's an analogy I've been telling my buddy Damien, actually helped out with the show. I've been telling him. So it's a sniper analogy. So you're sitting up there, you got your gun ready. Let's say you're in battle, Afghanistan. you're getting your spotter. He's giving you windage. Right now you're getting windage. You're kind of like you got your scope and you're kind of twisting and everything. This is the second year. So first year you get a pass, 8-5. Lost some games you should have. You're recruiting well. But yeah, if he went 7-6, 8-5, you're getting that scope ready. You're gonna fire Fat Boy Jim Chaney. He's gone. He's dead man walking. He's getting really really looked at. He's got the crosshairs, the red dot on Jim Chaney this year. You can kind of tell. So he better do well. But I'm hoping on 10-2, win the East, maybe make it close. I'm probably going to lose to Bama. I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up, but just be competitive in that game. Maybe lose by 10-14. Just make it close. Don't get the wheels blown off like 2 years ago in the rain. So yeah, I'm hoping for 10-2. I don't want Liberty Bowl. I don't want anything before January 1st, and I'll be happy. But win the East. Probably play in the Capital One Bowl as usual. But I would take that. So win the East and just see improvement. Just win some games you should have, and that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, if he does that third year, I'd see the seats getting warm for Kirby Smart.
Gotcha.
All right, so we'll look at bring up some of the slate of the games. Open forum here. We'll start out with Big Booty Daddy, the huge one. Alabama against Florida State in the brand new Mercedes Georgia Dome. What's the spread you've been seeing on that, Justin?
So last time I checked, it was -7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna get your thoughts on that.
7 and 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna get your thoughts on that. You can start it off. Who you think's going to win that? Your pick, or what's your thoughts on it?
Well, see, the tough thing about betting with Bama is they're always just so close to the spread that you're always holding on to the last second, and usually it's not in your favor. So whenever I see a Bama spread, I just kind of stay away from it. If the spread's -7, then Bama's gonna win right around 7.
Do you see Florida State kind of stepping up and getting a huge win, or you think it'll be close, maybe 3/4, and Bama kind of takes over? Or what's your thoughts? A lot of hype around Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, if this is as exciting as it's supposed to be, then I can definitely see both these teams in the playoffs as a rematch game. Right now, Bama's in the national championship. I say that momentum continues, and they should come out with a win.
Gotcha. Sean, what's your thoughts on this? I know you've always been a little bit of a Jimbo fan and followed him. I know it's Saban. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama maybe wins by 10-14. And the reason why I say that is that since Jimbo won the national title, he's really struggled defensively. He probably needs to give Charles Kelly, their defensive coordinator, the boot.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, Florida State's going to have to be able to play some defense against Alabama because Alabama's going to play defense against them. I'm just hard pressed to see this being like a shootout, a la like the national title game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't think this Florida State offense is as talented as that as that Clemson offense was last year. I think I'll give the edge to Alabama defensively. I don't think Florida State defensively showed me enough to show that they're really going to be able to do much more than maybe temporarily contain Alabama on offense. So to me, the difference on defense is probably worth 10-14 points. But who knows? That's why they play the game, right?
Yeah, my question, I think I mentioned it last week with Alabama. They got the squad and everything. I'm still questioning that new offensive coordinator that came. He's the tight end coach from New England. I felt like that was a reach for a hire. I know he's got a lot of weapons, and I'm also heard is he going to be second year? Felt like he struggled toward the national title game. Kind of struggled towards the end of the year. I know they were winning, but I'm kind of questioning. I want to see how that offense does. I know they got all the 5 stars and everything. The defense is going to be sick as usual. But I just kind of want to see how Bama does on offense. Yeah, the next one I want to bring up, we were just mentioning with all the suspensions and everything, you're going to have, this is according to ESPN, number 11 Michigan is against Florida. It's going to be right now. It's Michigan minus 5.5. So get your thoughts on that, Justin.
Yeah, when I was watching the NFL draft, I felt like every other player came from Michigan. So this is going to be kind of two new teams playing for the first time in a long time, especially with all the suspensions you're seeing from Florida, and then all the new guys coming in for Michigan. So minus 3.5 Michigan. It opened at 5.
Wow.
I'm kind of on the fence if I even want to touch that game or not.
Right.
Yeah, you really don't know what either team has.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Michigan has lost, like Justin said, 17 out of 22 starters, which is huge. But how about looking at this head to head? Who do you think the better coach is? Sean, I know you always like looking at the coaching. Harbaugh, damn good coach, and you got Swamp Donkey, like you said, McElwain, one of the best in the SEC.
Man, I think it's a push. I mean, you could probably argue it either way. I mean, a lot of people for Harbaugh. Maybe it's Harbaugh, though, because he did take San Fran to the Super Bowl. He did very well at Stanford, although, when you look back, I mean, he did have Richard Sherman at cornerback, probably the best cornerback in the NFL over the last, 5-6 years, if not longer. And then he also had Andrew Luck, who's, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, arguably speaking. That's some pretty good talent that he had there. So maybe you say Harbaugh just, if you're going to look at the resume, because, again, he did take him to the Super Bowl. But what McElwain did at Florida is pretty impressive, too. I mean, Florida was bad under Muschamp. They really didn't have anything offensively going for him, and he got him, pretty much back in his first year. They've been to the SEC championship game 2 years in a row, so that's not necessarily anything to sleep on either.
Right.
Yeah, and then also looking at it, I guess I forgot about it. It was what do you think? Any positive or what negative for playing at AT&T Stadium? You think one team travels better than the other, or playing there? I know it's a neutral site game. Some people always look at that. You don't have to worry about the weather at least.
I don't. Hell if I
know. Hey, Justin, that's in your backyard over there in Texas.
Yeah.
Jerry's World.
Yeah, I mean that. I think Michigan holds like 110 or something.
Yeah, this one holds 100, I guess.
Yeah, this one holds 100. So
yeah. I'm
not sure. I know Michigan travels well. This might be like a home game for just indoor though for Michigan. I'm not really too sure or sold. Who the edge is going to have with this, but.
All right. I know you said stay away betting. All right, gun to your head. If you had to make a pick, who would you go?
Florida in the points.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, another one we'll look at, just looking at the top 25 games, looks interesting on paper. You got West Virginia. The Mountaineers travel, I believe it's at Virginia Tech. Both are ranked. Yep. West Virginia 22, Virginia Tech 21. Right now it's Virginia Tech -4. The Hokies, they did lose their quarterback from last year. He was really good. So I think they're rolling in with a redshirt freshman, looks like Josh Jackson. Makes his collegiate debut, which could be scary, never taking a snap. And I think, Sean, he's playing, West Virginia, I'm bringing up an old name for you, talking about Florida. I think they're rolling with Will Greer. Remember him? Got popped with the GNC juice a couple years back? I think they got him. Remember, he was damn good. He's taking the reins for the Mountaineers. Hell, I mean, really good arm, kind of mobile. I mean, we were scared to death that one year. He was 4-0. Thought it was blowing out everybody, and then he got in trouble. So anyway, just because of Will Greer going against a true freshman, I have to roll with West Virginia, but I don't know about the rest of the teams. Anyway, what's your thoughts on that, Justin?
I think I was reading a while back that one of the teams hasn't won there in 20 years or something like that. I can't remember. The game's at Virginia Tech, so I'm guessing that's West Virginia, but can't confirm that just yet. But
Actually, not to interrupt you, but looking at it, it's actually at FedEx Field, which I believe is the Washington Redskins stadium, which is interesting.
I think it may have been that they haven't played in 20 years.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
No, I think VT hasn't won at FedEx Field in it's like over 10 years or something like that.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm trying to confirm it right now. So, Sean, if you want to jump in.
Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess in this game, maybe I like Virginia Tech a little bit more.
You like the coach too, Sean. Sean was all over him as Georgia.
Oh, yeah, Justin Fuentes.
Yeah, good coach. Went to the ACC championship game last year.
Yeah, I mean, in this first year, man, it seems like he's pretty much, carried over what Skin Graph was doing before him. They're spunky. From what I've seen of West Virginia, rather, it seems like they put up a lot of points or whatever. But they're not really much to write home about on defense. I think it's harder to be good on defense than it is necessarily to be good on offense.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give the nod to Tech just because of that. But,
Yeah, I got
if
you.
they haven't won there in 10 years, that's certainly something you got to factor in.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And let's just be honest. I mean, who's going to watch that game?
Nobody.
I think
you watch the highlights on ESPN.
Another thing, I think it's like 30 minutes before, Bama and Florida State play, so I'm sure everybody's going to be, unless you're a diehard Virginia Tech or West Virginia, you'll be clicking it all over. That's pretty much all the big profile games. Another one I wanted to mention, I guess because it's right here in Charlotte, could be interesting. You got NC State against South Carolina in Bank of America Stadium. Looks like NC State -5. Man, and I was listening to some preview videos the other day. Some person came out of nowhere and go, man, I like NC State surprising and shocking the world and going to the NCAA playoffs. And I was like, wow, because supposedly they have one of the best defensive lines in the country. I'm just like, didn't their coach barely even made it to this year? Is it Fedora? I get him and the UNC guys. Fedora, is Fedora, is he the UNC coach? I get him mixed up. It's, who is it for State? Wolfpack.
I don't know. I don't know that I've honestly ever seen them. Can we get video confirmation that they actually played football since Philip Rivers left? Because I don't ever remember seeing them on a football field since then.
Hey, you had Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah.
Remember he played a little bit and then he went to Russell Wilson. Did I say Westbrook? I'm sorry, brain fart. Anyway, Russell Wilson. Anyway, just that statement alone. I mean, this is probably another 7-6. So anyway, -5 with that defense. I don't know. I'd probably take South Carolina in the points just because of Jake Bentley, and they have recruited decently for the Gamecocks. Will Muschamp coaching up for the Shamecocks. So anyway, I'd take South Carolina, but that's my pick. What do you think about Muschamp's opening up with that, Sean? NC State.
I don't really care. It's South Carolina versus NC State. It's like a high school football game.
Anyway. All right. Well, that sounded really good. Now we'll go to some of our...
I can have one more. Just before we get off this. I actually couldn't help myself. Whenever this line opened up, I was salivating like Pavlov's dog over here. And I'm actually going to coin it. You can cue the music. I'm going to coin this the Texas Golden Goose Blue Chip pick here.
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. So Houston plays UTSA. Now, I'm an avid SEC watcher and supporter, but I also bet on the smaller conferences too. Two things we know here is, the Cougars lost Tom Herman, and then they also have to replace one of their best players in school history, quarterback Greg Ward Jr.
All right.
Now, I know that Texas A&M quarterback, he was a former 5-star, Kyle Allen. He's going to come in for Houston. But in saying that, UTSA, I think they were like 6-1 against the spread. They closed the season out. Them in Wyoming last year, it seemed like they just killed it for me. And then UTSA is also returning just about every single player back. So the spread is 14.5. What I'm reading is a lot of the experts have this game around 9, and it's at UTSA. This is going to be an emotional game too. Of course, with Harvey. So
That bastard.
The focus, especially in Houston, hasn't been on football. This is 14.5 is a lot for this game. I think I would put it somewhere around 7 to 10. So there it is. That's a Texas Golden Goose blue chip special.
Hey,
I
Justin's
actually like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Justin's
That's a good
lock
call.
of the week. Well, first, I don't want to cry in the beer. I guess I'm looking at ESPN. Are they actually going to play this game, Justin? You might know a little bit more. It's just got postponed for 7 p.m. September 2nd. Where are they going to play it at? It looks like the Alamo Dome. Is San Antonio? Is it close to there? Is it safe to play?
Yeah, it's going to be at the Alamo Dome.
Okay, so, all right, gotcha. It just had postpone on here, but maybe they didn't update it. Yeah, I like that. I don't know anything about UTSA. It sounds like TSA to me, the airport. I don't know. I'll go with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, them in Wyoming,
It's good.
They just absolutely bailed me out of a lot of situations too. So
Nice.
And knowing that UTSA isn't really losing anyone,
Yeah, I like it.
really helps.
Yeah, I like it. Digging down deep. You
They
get
also
those.
they almost beat Arizona State last year. I'm not sure if you guys remember. They were a 3-touchdown underdog and came down to the wire, but they lost the game.
Nice. There you go. Any other picks? Any other picks you like?
Well, I don't want to give away all my secrets. Tune in next week, though. I'll have another Texas Golden Goose blue chip special.
That's right. Justin be back next week, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're interested in that, call 1-800-SALT-1 for those locks. SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Pac-10, Big 12, whatever. Locks of the week. Call them. We'll be on there. $19.99 per pick all season. And our legendary $100 all games included. I don't know here. Anyway, that's my own. 2 for the money. I'm a retired gambleaholic. Hey, all right, last but not least, I'm going to give mine. As Justin knows, anything I actually said to pick, probably pick opposite. But I'm going to call this DAWG, Dog of the Week. Dog of the Week. I'm going to go, let me see what the line is. Hold on just a second. I'm going to go, this is going to be Labor Day special here. I'm going to take the Nerds, North Avenue Nerds, Georgia Tech against Tennessee. Right now it's looking like Tennessee -3. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. The reason is Tennessee, I think they lost the offensive or defensive lineman this week, and I know Georgia Tech just lost their top running back. The reason I'm going to like Georgia Tech in this one, they're real tricky at the first of the year with that triple option. Tennessee hasn't seen a triple option in years. Butch Jones on the hot seat. I just like Georgia Tech in a close one, eking it out, running that clock, playing a little defense. I like Georgia Tech and the Nerds beating Georgia Tech on Labor Day night at the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. Hey, but Justin's probably like texting right now. He's like, all right, I'm definitely taking Tennessee now. So anyway, all right. Well, as Justin was saying earlier, he always says it's like a second Christmas. So I know all three of us can't wait to the countdown season, 3 days and counting. So
Best time of the year.
Best time of the year.
Right.
Hey, Justin, where are you watching the games at this year? I know Justin just had a little addition to the family. What's his name again? Little puppy.
Yeah, Franklin
Roosevelt. So I know he'll had his hands full in that, but I'm sure he'll be watching. Sean's
dog bars now.
There you go. Sean's going to probably be at Dillonbeck Manor watching it.
That's right.
And then Trey's going to be up in, I think it's Stockbridge, Michigan. Don't ask me how I got into this. Flying out to Detroit tomorrow night, so I'll be watching it. Hopefully the ESPN app. Better have a damn TV. So I'm probably watching that, and then maybe we can all get up for big time next week when Georgia travels to Notre Dame. Is Justin
Neo gang.
Hey, touchdown Jesus, Rudy, the dogs are coming. Fuck you, we're coming. Hey, Dog Nation invades South Bend, so that's gonna be huge. Might go watch it at Kickstands, the new Georgia bar. But
I'm not at Fitzgerald's anymore. I'm glad glad you told me that. I definitely would have showed up at Fitzgerald's.
Well, you would have been texting me where we're going anyway. Probably come pick your ass up if you're drinking. So anyway, yeah, we're going to go to Kickstand, switching up. It's supposed to be a good venue. But yeah, that's another good episode of the Herschel Talkers, and we're out.
All right, see ya.